Laughter exploded around the room like fireworks at a funeral. Champagne glasses clinked. My wife Lindsay clapped like a damn seal, proud of the humiliation she helped script. And my daughter, Vanessa, standing at the mic in her snow-white wedding dress, raised her glass and said with a smirk, "Come on, Dad, it's just a joke." A joke. After paying for the venue, the catering, her dress, the flowers, hell, even her husband's student loans, I was now the punchline. I stood up slowly. My hand shook, but not from nerves. From fury. From betrayal. From everything I had swallowed for the past 26 years. I pulled out the envelope. And that's when the music cut. The laughter died. And every eye turned to me. "You want a joke?" I said, voice trembling but loud. "All right. Let's all laugh together." I walked up to the microphone. Lindsay's eyes widened. She knew. Somehow she knew. I opened the envelope and began reading. "Dear Mr. Colburn," I said, my voice steady now, "this letter is to confirm the private investigator's report regarding your wife, Lindsay Colburn, and her continued affair with her personal trainer." Gasps. Real ones this time. Hands covered mouths. Vanessa's wine glass hit the floor. I looked my daughter in the eye and said, "This joke's just getting started." Gasps turned into whispers. Whispers into stunned silence. Even the damn violinist at the corner stopped mid-stroke, bow hanging in the air like this was some scene out of a soap opera. But it wasn't. This was real life. My life. Falling apart in a room full of rented suits and fake smiles. Lindsay didn't move. She just stood there, paralyzed. Her face had drained of all color, like the truth vacuumed out her soul. I folded the letter and held it up. "This is from the private investigator I hired 6 months ago. I wasn't even looking for anything at first. I just had a gut feeling." My voice broke for half a second. I let it. Let them hear the crack. Let them know this wasn't rehearsed. This wasn't performance. This was me being gutted in real time. I work late. I come home to cold dinners and colder stares. I thought I was just boring. That maybe she was tired. But it turns out, she was busy. People shifted in their chairs. I could see some of the men looking over at their wives, some of the wives looking down into their wine. Lindsay's been spending her afternoons with a guy named Travis. You know what the funny part is? I introduced them. I paid for his gym, paid for her wellness sessions. And while I was working overtime to pay for this wedding, I gestured at the whole ridiculous spectacle around me. They were working overtime in the back of his Range Rover. Lindsay finally stepped forward, her lips parting, but I raised my hand. "Don't. Not now. You had every chance to speak." Vanessa stood up too, stunned, eyes bouncing between me and her mother. She looked confused, like her Disney princess world was suddenly on fire and she couldn't find the remote. "Dad, please," she whispered. I turned to her. "Vanessa, I love you. I always have. But you laughed at me tonight. You stood there and laughed. You called me the housekeeper of the family." I paused. "You know what a housekeeper does? They clean up everybody else's messes. And I did that for years. Quietly. Proudly. Because I thought I was protecting a family. Turns out I was just covering up filth. A few people were filming now. Good. Let the world see what betrayal looks like when the mask falls off. I built this life. I gave up promotions, dreams, opportunities for what? So I could be cheated on by a bored narcissist and laughed at by my own daughter." Lindsay finally snapped. "You're ruining her wedding." "No," I said calmly, "you ruined our marriage." Then I looked at the stunned groom, Nick. Her bastard didn't even know what to do with his hands. "Welcome to the family, son. Hope you've got good shoes. You'll be doing a lot of sweeping." Someone in the back let out an awkward laugh. "One. Just one." That's when I pulled out the second envelope. "This one's the divorce papers," I said. "Already signed. All I need is yours. Shouldn't be hard. You've already signed enough hotel receipts with your lover." I dropped the microphone. Literally. Not in a cool movie way. I just let it fall. The thud it made echoed like a gunshot in the ballroom. And I walked out. Didn't take the coat check. Didn't wait for the valet. I walked 4 blocks in the cold until I found the first dive bar I could sit in without being recognized. That's when it all hit me. Not the betrayal. Not yet. It was the mockery. The way she smiled when they called me the disappointment. Like I earned that title. Like she hadn't been draining the life out of me for the last decade while feeding her little boy toy protein shakes and my credit card. I ordered a whiskey. Straight. No rocks. Burned like hell, but it felt like justice. You think you know what pain is. But pain isn't the affair. It's the smirk she makes when she thinks you're too weak to do anything about it. And now? Now she knows. And I'm just getting started. I sat in that bar for over an hour, replaying everything. The wedding. The speech. Her face. That fake, flinching smile she gave when she realized the spotlight was on her for once, and not for her dress, or her hair, or her latest lie, but for the truth she thought I'd never dare to speak. The bartender didn't ask questions. Just refilled when the glass was empty. I like that. Silence was better than sympathy. My phone buzzed for the 8th time. Vanessa again. I didn't pick up. Then came a message from Lindsay. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I hope you're happy. We'll talk when you calm down. Calm down? That's when it hit me. That woman, she wasn't just a liar. She was a manipulator to her core. Even now, after everything, she thought she could gaslight me into thinking I was the one who overreacted. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the hidden folder in my phone, the one with the photos, screenshots, hotel receipts, GPS logs, even a few grainy shots from the PI. Him, shirtless, answering her door. Her, in a robe, stepping outside to kiss him like I never existed. I had every damn receipt. And for once, I didn't feel ashamed for looking. I felt clarity. You know, the thing about betrayal is it doesn't hit all at once. It's like drowning in slow motion. You think you're swimming, you're moving, you're doing everything right, but you look around and realize you're 10 feet below the surface, screaming, and no one even notices. That was my marriage. 2 days passed before she finally showed up at the house. I heard the key turn in the door, and my stomach knotted up, not because I missed her, not because I wanted to fight. No, I just wanted to see what kind of mask she'd wear this time. She walked in like nothing happened. Hair curled, nails fresh, like she hadn't been caught red-handed at our daughter's wedding in front of 200 people. You made your point, she said, tossing her keys on the counter. But you didn't have to go nuclear. I stared at her from the kitchen table. The divorce papers were right where I left them. You think this is a game? No, I think you're being dramatic, she sighed, walking past me toward the living room like she owned the air. You embarrassed your daughter. You embarrassed me. And for what? An affair that meant nothing? You still don't get it. She turned. It's not like I was getting any attention at home. You were always working, always tired. I was lonely, okay. I stood up slowly. You weren't lonely. You were bored. And greedy. Greedy. She actually laughed. I gave you everything. You gave me duties, schedules, to-do lists. I was your handyman, your driver, your paycheck. You gave Travis what used to be mine. Her jaw twitched. That was the first real crack. You're blowing this way out of. Say the word, I cut in. Go on. Say it. Say what you did. Out loud. She crossed her arms. I don't have to justify myself to you. No, you don't. Not anymore. I picked up the papers and walked over, placing them on the coffee table. Sign these. Then you can go back to him. No more hiding. No more pretending. No more housekeeper. I'm not signing anything until we talk properly. There's nothing left to talk about, I said. The man you used to know died standing under that chandelier while your daughter called him a joke. You finished him off when you clapped. She blinked. Just once. Her walls weren't holding as tight now. And I couldn't help but whisper one last thing before walking away. Just so you know, Travis isn't as discreet as you think. She froze. What do you mean? I mean, check his phone. Check his cloud. The PI didn't just follow him. He talked to him. You'd be surprised how easy it is to get a gym bro talking when you tell him you're making a documentary on fitness influencers. Her face dropped like a curtain being yanked down. You're lying. I smiled, just slightly. You know what they say, it's just a joke. Lighten up. I left her standing there, face pale, breathing shaky, wondering just how much I knew. She had no idea, but she was about to find out. The next morning, she was gone. Not a word, not a note. Just the smell of her perfume lingering near the doorway and a closet that looked like it had been raided during a fire drill. Half her clothes were gone. The jewelry box was open. The little blue necklace I gave her on our 20th anniversary? Gone too. But the divorce papers? Still unsigned. Typical. She wanted control over the ending. That was always her thing, control. She could sleep around, lie, mock me in public, but I was supposed to handle everything with quiet dignity. Be the rock. The stable one. The pushover. Not anymore. I made some calls that day. Froze the joint account. Changed the locks. Got the lawyer involved. Told him I wanted everything documented. No backroom deals. No handshakes. This wasn't a breakup. It was an extraction. Surgical and precise. That night, I finally checked the PI's extended report, the part one hadn't dared open before the wedding. And Jesus, it was worse than I thought. Multiple locations. Multiple times. Even a weekend getaway she told me was a self-care retreat. There was a photo from that trip, her straddling him on a balcony, laughing, wearing my old college hoodie. That did something to me. Not rage. Not sadness. Just silence. Heavy and cold. I didn't eat. Just sat there staring at that image until the screen dimmed. Then came the message. From an unknown number. You went too far. Vanessa's crying. You ruined everything. I stared at it for a minute. Then typed back. Tell Travis I said hi. Read. No reply. I went to bed without locking the door that night. I didn't care anymore. What else could they take? But at 3:17 a.m., the door opened anyway. I heard it before I saw her, those familiar cautious footsteps, heels clicking too loud in the silence. She didn't know I was awake. Or maybe she didn't care. She came into the bedroom slowly, like she still had the right. You changed the locks, she said softly. You broke the house, I said without turning on the lamp. A long pause. I didn't expect you to say all that at the wedding. No, I muttered. You expected me to keep pretending. She sat on the edge of the bed, and I finally saw her face, red, mascara-stained, but still holding on to whatever pride she had left. The same look she gave me every time she lied and dared me to believe her. You told Vanessa everything? I told her the truth. She hates me now. She should. She flinched. You always knew, didn't you? I nodded. Yeah, but I didn't want to believe it. I kept thinking maybe I was just being paranoid. Maybe I was the problem. I didn't want it to get this far, she said, her voice cracking. It got exactly as far as you let it. She wiped her face and looked down. I felt invisible, okay? Like nothing I did mattered anymore. Like I was just part of the furniture in your routine. And cheating fixed that? I said, sitting up. Was screwing your trainer what made you feel visible again? Don't say it like that, she hissed. How should I say it? I asked, my voice rising for the first time. That you connected emotionally on a yoga mat? That it just happened between protein shakes and deep tissue massages. She looked like she wanted to scream, or cry, or slap me. But instead, she did something worse. She smirked. That cold, smug, unbothered smirk I'd seen 100 times. Like I was the child in the room, and she was the adult tolerating my tantrum. I could have kept lying, you know, she said. I only slipped because I stopped caring whether you knew. And just like that, the final thread snapped. You should go, I said. I live here. Not anymore. She stood, adjusted her coat, walked to the door. You'll regret this, she said. I already regret staying this long. Then she was gone. And for the first time in years, the house was quiet. Not peaceful, but finally honest. The next few days were strange. Not painful exactly, just hollow. Like walking through the ashes of a house you used to live in, seeing all the outlines of where furniture once stood, but nothing's really there anymore. I moved through the routines. Coffee, work, emails. But it was like I was watching someone else live my life. The part of me that used to care about what brand of toothpaste we bought or whether the towels were folded a certain way, gone. Stripped. Burned out. Vanessa didn't call. I thought she might, after things cooled down. But silence was her choice. Maybe Lindsay poisoned the well already. Maybe I embarrassed her too much. Or maybe she just didn't want to believe the man who raised her had been silently bleeding for years. And I wasn't going to chase her. Let her sit in the wreckage and decide who actually built the walls around her. On the 4th day, I got a call from Travis. At first, I didn't pick up. But then I thought, screw it. Let's see what the boy wonder has to say. Hey, his voice cracked like he hadn't done this before. I didn't expect you to answer. You shouldn't be calling me. I know. I wanted to say sorry. I laughed. I actually laughed. Sorry? For which part? The lying? The screwing my wife? The gym selfies in my hoodie? I didn't know she was still with you. I thought you guys were separated. Oh, you mean when she told you I was emotionally unavailable and toxic? That old script. Silence. I should have walked away, he mumbled. But she said you were a... Don't finish that sentence, I said, my tone dead flat. You knew. Maybe not at first. But eventually, you knew. And you kept going. So don't come to me like some sad little victim. You got what you wanted. I'm not with her anymore. I paused. What? She flipped. After the wedding. Called me obsessive. Said I ruined her life. She blocked me yesterday. I almost smiled. Almost. She got what she wanted, I said. You were never the prize. You were just the alibi. He sighed. Look, man, I didn't mean. Click. I didn't want his guilt. I didn't want his apology. I didn't want anything from that chapter of my life. Later that night, I poured myself a drink and pulled out an old photo album I hadn't touched in years. Wedding pictures. Vacations. Vanessa as a kid sitting on my shoulders. Lindsay looked happy in those photos. Or at least convincing. But now that I was really looking, really seeing, I noticed the little things. The way her smile never quite reached her eyes. The way she always angled herself perfectly toward the camera. As if she wasn't living the moment, just posing for it. All of it felt staged. I closed the album and shoved it back into the drawer. That life? It was done. Finished. Dead and buried. The next morning, my lawyer called. She signed. Simple as that. No meeting. No phone call. Just a courier dropping off a manila envelope with her signature on every page. She didn't even leave a note. But I didn't need one. I already knew. That same afternoon, I walked into a furniture store and bought a new bed. Not because I needed it, but because I refused to sleep another night in the one we shared. It was a symbolic thing. A new beginning. No ghosts in the mattress. When the movers delivered it, I stripped the bedroom bare. Took down every framed memory, every wedding photo, every monogram towel with our initials stitched together like a lie. By sundown, it was like she'd never existed here. I thought I'd feel empty. But you know what? I felt clean. Like stepping out of a long, suffocating storm and realizing you can breathe again. Like I could finally look in the mirror and not see the man who tolerated it all with a quiet nod. No more jokes. No more housekeeper. Just a man who got up, walked out of hell, and didn't look back. 2 weeks after she signed the papers, Vanessa finally showed up. She didn't call, didn't text, just rang the doorbell like it was a regular Sunday, and she was still my little girl coming home for lunch. I stood there for a second, hand on the knob, wondering what version of her was waiting on the other side, the daughter I raised or the woman who laughed at me in front of 200 strangers. When I opened the door, she looked smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I had just grown. She didn't speak right away. Just stood there, fidgeting with her sleeves, eyes red like she'd been crying for hours. I shouldn't have said what I said, she whispered. I nodded once, stepping aside. She walked in slowly, looking around like she expected the furniture to yell at her too. Everything was different, new couch, new rug, half the walls bare. The house didn't feel like a memory anymore. It felt like mine. I didn't mean it the way it came out, she said once we sat down. The joke, it wasn't even mine. Mom made it up. She told me it would be funny. Of course she did. Then why say it? I asked quietly. She looked down. Because I thought you'd laugh too. You always just swallowed things. And I didn't want to upset her. I waited. And I was mad at you, she said, finally looking up. You were always working. Always distant. I guess I blamed you for the tension at home. I didn't realize how much you were holding everything together until it fell apart. I nodded again, slower this time. I loved you both, she said. But she was easier to talk to. She told me things. Stuff I didn't even want to hear. I raised an eyebrow. Like what? She hesitated. She said you didn't love her anymore. That you were just going through the motions. That she felt like a ghost. I laughed once, bitter. She was a ghost. Floating from one lie to another, haunting every room with silence and secrets. And I tried, Ness. I really tried. But love's a two-way street, and I was the only one driving. Vanessa's eyes welled up again. I just wish you'd told me sooner. Would you have believed me? Silence. That's what I thought. She looked ashamed. That hurt more than I expected. I didn't want her broken. I just wanted her to see the truth. I'm not mad anymore, I said. I was. But I've let it go. I had to. For me. She nodded, wiping her face. We sat there in silence for a while. The kind that's heavy, but not uncomfortable. Just real. Then she stood up. Can I come by more often? She asked. Help redecorate? Maybe. Make some new memories. I smiled. Only if you're okay with painting walls and getting splinters. She laughed, genuinely this time. And in that moment, I saw a flicker of the little girl again, the one who used to fall asleep on my chest during thunderstorms. After she left, I stood in the doorway for a long time, watching her car disappear down the road. And for the first time in a while, I didn't feel abandoned. I felt relieved. A few days later, I got a message from Lindsay. Just 3 words. We need closure. I didn't respond. What closure? She got hers. She burned the bridge and danced on the ashes. Whatever guilt she was starting to feel, it was hers to carry now, not mine. I was done playing therapist to the woman who tried to shatter me with a smile. Instead, I started going for morning walks again. Signed up for a photography class I used to dream about when life was too noisy. Reconnected with an old friend from college who'd been through something similar. We grabbed beers, talked, laughed, and I slept. Really slept. Not the kind where you lie still and stare at the ceiling. The kind where you close your eyes, and when you open them, the world feels like it might make sense again. Some wounds don't bleed. They echo. But even echoes fade, eventually. One evening, about a month later, I got a knock at the door. It was dark already, and I wasn't expecting anyone. For a split second, I thought maybe Vanessa forgot something, or maybe the neighbor needed help again with his porch light. But when I opened it, there she was. Lindsay. Same coat. Same perfume. Different face. This time, she wasn't composed. No perfect hair. No designer bag hanging off her shoulder like an accessory to her ego. Her eyes were raw, cheeks flushed from the cold or maybe from what she was about to say. I shouldn't be here, she said. You're right, I replied, already halfway through closing the door. She stuck her foot in the gap. Please, just give me 5 minutes. I looked at her. Really looked at her. And what I saw wasn't strength or arrogance this time. It was fear. Desperation. 5 minutes, I said, stepping aside. She walked in slowly, like the walls might bite her. And maybe they would have, if they could. She sat on the edge of the couch, her fingers fidgeting with the zipper of her coat. I made a mistake, she said. I stayed standing. Which one? Be specific. She looked up at me like she didn't expect the edge in my voice. She probably thought I'd softened. That time had given her a key back into something she already lost. I thought Travis cared, she said. But he was just a phase. An escape. He stopped calling. He blocked me. I tilted my head. And you came here for what? Sympathy. No, she said quickly. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I stared at her. You want forgiveness? She nodded. All right, I said. I forgive you. Her face lit up, just for a moment. But not because you deserve it, I added. Because I do. Her smile cracked. What does that mean? It means I'm not carrying your guilt anymore. I've been holding it for both of us for too long. And I'm tired. Tears welled up in her eyes, but they didn't move me. I'd seen this performance before. It used to destroy me. Now, it barely registered. I ruined everything, she whispered. No, I said, sitting down across from her. You revealed everything. There's a difference. She wiped her face, slowly, like she was dragging the shame off 1 inch at a time. I didn't know how to ask for help, she muttered. I felt like we were stuck. Like we were just roommates. We were, I said. But instead of fixing it or ending it, you chose betrayal. And I didn't deserve that. No one does. She nodded, slowly. I just wanted to feel alive. And I wanted peace, I said. Looks like we both got what we wanted. Eventually. She took a shaky breath. Are you seeing someone? I laughed, bitter and short. Not yet. But when I do, it'll be someone who doesn't keep a second life in her gym bag. Her shoulders dropped. That line hit her. I wanted it to. She stood up, looked around the living room one last time. This place looks different. It is. She lingered by the door. Will you tell Vanessa I came by? No, I said. That's your mess. You clean it up. She nodded, opened the door, then hesitated. You were a good man, you know, she said without looking back. I just didn't know how to be good to you. And then she was gone. I stood in the hallway for a while, not because I missed her, but because I felt lighter. It was over. The ghost was finally gone from my house. That night, I slept in silence. No thoughts screaming in my head. No questions circling the drain. Just stillness. The kind I hadn't felt in years. The next morning, I made pancakes for no one but myself. Played some old records. Walked barefoot on the hardwood floors I'd cleaned the day before. And I realized something strange. For the first time in over 2 decades, I was free. The days that followed were quiet, but not empty. I found myself doing things I used to love without needing permission. I went for drives with no destination, stopped at small bookstores, cooked meals with loud music playing in the background. The house that once echoed with tension and fake smiles now breathed with space, with truth, with me. One afternoon, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address. It was from Lindsay. 4 pages long. Rambling. Emotional. Apologetic. But also, in some twisted way, still trying to explain. Still justifying. She wrote about her childhood. About fear. about not feeling seen, about resentment that built up over years, like mold behind wallpaper. She ended it with, "I don't expect you to write back. I just needed you to know that you were never the disappointment I was." I folded the letter, placed it in a drawer, and never looked at it again. Some stories don't need sequels. Vanessa started visiting more. We painted one of the spare bedrooms together. She brought over old photos and asked if we could rebuild, not what we had, but something better, something honest. She cried once while we were organizing books. "I should have stood up for you," she said. I told her what I believed now. It's not about what you should have done then. It's about what you choose to do now. People talk about heartbreak like it's a singular moment, but it's not. It's 100 small ones. It's missed dinners, cold silences, forced smiles. It's watching someone you love slowly become someone who looks right through you. But healing? That's quiet too. It's waking up one morning and realizing you don't think about them first anymore. It's standing in your own kitchen, barefoot, sipping coffee, and feeling whole, not because someone loves you, but because you remember how to love yourself. I'm not angry anymore. Not at her. Not at Vanessa. Not even at myself. I survived something that was meant to destroy me. I stared down the kind of betrayal that breaks most men, and I walked away with my spine straighter than ever. You want advice? Here it is. If the people closest to you start laughing at your pain, it's time to stop being quiet. Stand up. Speak your truth. Drop the damn envelope. Let them deal with the sound of reality hitting the floor. And then walk away. Because the most powerful thing a man can do after betrayal is live well. And I am. Better than ever.